Hi everybody, this is Holdsworth from Spot Athletics with another Friday technique video. Been getting lots of good feedback on the videos. Today we're going to go over good mornings. I've gotten a lot of questions, not just on how to do them, where to use them in your program. So briefly we'll touch on where to use them in your program. Good mornings have been around a long time, but I think that's something that there's a lot of confusion on. I really don't think that unless you can double body weight squat raw, then you should not be doing good mornings for a max effort exercise. Even at that point, I still don't think it's a great max effort exercise. I think that once the weight gets way up there, I think that people start cheating, and there's a lot of potential for injuries. If you lose the arch in the lower back or the flatness of the lower back, then you have potential disc injuries. One of my first powerlifting injuries, I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to do really heavy good mornings. Bam, I couldn't walk for about a week. So for beginners, really recommend working up very slowly on this exercise, no matter how good it feels, because you don't want to end up with a blown disc, trust me. Then as far as accessories, I use it many different ways. Sometimes I use it, higher reps to build like a little more endurance in the low back. I also use it for sets of 5. So not as a max effort, but a heavier accessory exercise in parts of my program. So you can use that accessory, you can use it as max effort. I really recommend sticking more towards the accessory, and if you want to use a little more weight, stick to 5, something that you can comfortably do for 5, and not like a real hard straining exercise. Look at it more as a muscle strength builder and not a strength tester. I don't believe good mornings are good to be used as a strength tester because there's too many ways to cheat the exercise. So different kinds of good mornings. You have a lot have been talked about. Seated good mornings, which I never do and I'm not a fan of. Then you have arch back, rounded back are the big ones that are talked about. I'm not a big fan of rounded back good mornings at all. I think that putting your lower back in that position under load is not a good place to be, especially if you have back issues. If you've had back issues in the past, never do rounded back good mornings. Now, you can use rounded back good mornings with a very light load to create some more tensile strength through the disc, through the tendons. But this is something that, again, if you've had back injuries, that I would stay away from. I do some very light ones at times, just to try to build a little bit of that strength. But again, it's usually with the bar as more of a warm-up type thing to get warmed up for squats. So stay away from the arch or the rounded back good mornings if you've had any issues. Arch back good mornings I really feel are good and beneficial and can build lower back, glutes, hamstrings, the whole posterior chain that we always talk about. Another one that's not talked about very much is more of a flat back good morning, and this is the kind I do more often than not. With a flat back good morning, basically instead of really getting that hyperextension in the lower back, you focus on keeping the abs really tight and keeping a nice neutral pelvic position as much as you can, a nice flat back throughout the exercise. Another thing I recommend for good mornings, always have something set up safety-wise. Whether it's a chain, whether it's straps, whether it's pins like in my EFS rack here. What I recommend for height is never ever go lower than a hand position above your belly button. So if your belly button's here, put your hand there, set the pins up. If you have low back injuries, you know this, and you want to still do them, you can do them with a flatter arch back, but you want to go a little bit higher up to reduce the injury risk. So how do we do good mornings? One of the big things, people usually end up squatting. You do not want to squat. I like to use a safety squat bar, especially when I'm using pins, because it allows the pins not to be in my way because my hands can be here. But most people, if you have a barbell, that's fine. You can use barbell as well. Big thing, we want to have a slight bend in our knees. We want to hinge back with our hips. And when we get to the top, or when we get to back, we want to pull back up with our hips. A lot of people try to arch out of that. When you arch out of that, you're doing all low back. You're taking a lot of the hips out of it, which is one of the most important parts of doing good mornings. So when we do good mornings, set up feet shoulder width apart. Nice slight bend in the knee as we go back. We don't want to squat too much. So a lot of times what you see, instead of ending up in this position, people will end up getting about right here and doing a half good morning, half squat. That's not good. We want to make sure to keep a slight bend in the knee. Go all the way back. We hit the pins, pull up. So you can do it with a real hard arch like this if you want, or like I prefer to do more abs tight, engaged, and keep them more flat back. And the flat back will really help get your abs stronger and put you in a much better position like when you squat, as opposed to the super arch, which you're never really going to be in. I think the good morning with the flat back really helps the deadlift and the squat a lot. Not that you can't do the arch back, it's fine too. I just prefer it for transfer over to my lifts. So that's been really some overview of the good morning, where to use it in your program, the different kinds I recommend, how to set it up for safety. Hopefully you enjoyed this technique video. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next week. Go to theSpotAthletics.com for more information. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get these great videos every week. Keep the great comments and suggestions coming. Let us know what technique you'd like to see. Have a great weekend.